so long as like alchemy.
Usual suspects in the starting lineup tonight. There would be no Caspi and no Iguodala, both of them with back strains. I pointed the Iguodala one out late in that last game. Now, ever since they put Dirk's fellow German journeyman Max Kleber, I don't know his name, but Dallas on a 4-game winning streak, and they're just shooting the 3-ball ridiculously well, and that would continue tonight in Dallas. What's with the lighting in the arena, Mark Cuban? Not feeling it. Now, Clay is the known Maverick killer. He's averaging 30 a game against them, but you could tell the game plan was to neutralize him. Now, let's pause this right here. He needs to step, pivot, and bounce past this around, but Steph, addicted to the highlight, wants to split it. Now he's complaining his hand got hit, but either way, that's not the pass you want to make, and there's the German on the run-out lob. Now there's a lot of hype around this kid, Dennis Smith Jr., and remember, we missed him in the last matchup. You see him rail the early 3, but I immediately identified the flaw in his shot. He leans, he plays very low and leans, that's why he's so explosive, but then when he pulls up, he doesn't get his balance. Watch him lean and then elevate right out of the lean, so he doesn't bring his weight back to balance when he elevates, and so his weight is too forward in his jump shot. He's going to have to fix that, and Harrison Barnes, nice drop step spin move, and then KD almost busts it all the way open. Thank God for his dexterity, because that could have been a real problem for somebody with less flexibility in their hips and hamstrings. And then Steph's going to hide behind Zaza. What's this, from 30 feet? The rookie, he's got to see it to believe it, right? He didn't want to go over that. He's like, no, he's not pulling that. Oh, yeah, he is. Now, we talked about him being off balance. This is where it gives him a benefit. Look how he leans and he explodes. He's always going forward. His weight is always forward. That's what gives him extra burst, not to mention just the God-gifted ability. Here he is again, weight too forward, pull up. That's ugly. And still no Seth Curry, man. He is a legit NBA player, but we all have talked about how he's drawn the short straw in the Curry genetic lottery. I mean, look at the hair, the bone structure, right? But he's a legit NBA player. He has a stress fracture in his leg, and he's been out all season. It's got to be very frustrating, just as his career was taking off. And you see Draymond trying the Tyson Chandler tip rebound, that one with way too much force. You don't want to discourage growth. You want to see Draymond expand his game, but so you're going to have to live with these lumps. But some of the other stuff is inexcusable. Here's another tap, right? And it's going to go to Clay and work. So he's expanding his game, and it's going to come at a cost. And then Train, look out. You got to get off the tracks when the train's coming. Hits the floor very hard, but he's all right. His normal 6 and 6 in this game as far as minutes go. KD was just going to work in the mid-range, right? Things were flowing. Here's the extracurricular with Mahi, whatever the hell his name is. Their 7-footer. And I remind you, they still feel some type of way about Jordan Bell's off the backboard dunk. So there were several dust-ups, several extracurricular activities between Jordan Bell and some Mavericks. But I love that there was no back down. And look at little mini Ike Diago. Little mini Ike Diago. Y'all remember the Arizona State bust for the Warriors? And then I loved this. This was in the game plan. They brought in McCaw, and he picked up full court press on J.J. Barrera, who is having a career year. Patrick's really the only guy that can guard these little water bugs for 94 feet, so it was good to see him take that assignment with pride and did relatively well. Now watch Bell recover here, right? He shows on the pick and roll, and then he gets back and rips the ball, and that's just something our other bigs aren't capable of doing, and why Bell is getting more and more minutes. I had brought up Steph going to a 2-footed plant in his return game, not wanting to jump off the ankle. In this game, he had several physical finishes at the basket, jumping off both left and right foot, so that was good to see. Now you ask, can Dirk Nowitzki still score the ball? Depends. You see what I did there? No, but if you ask me, we were too willing to switch a small onto Dirk and let him get what he wanted in the mid-post. KD, like I said, had the mid-range working all night. He knew Dirk wasn't going to be able to challenge any of that. That would play out later in this game. And here's another drive from Steph, this time off the left foot. And he comes up a little hobbled, but he was all right. I think he's still just checking to see. Now, I love this play. KD had it going early. Look at Steph. He's like, no, this is KD's time, right? We're a minute 30. He's like, good to KD. Get to KD. Bell can't get it to him. Steph's like, nope, nope, nope. And then K pops out. I think they had a great balance of you take it, no, you take it, a little 1-2. Steph recognizing that KD's getting what he wants, and he gets to the line. Don't get me wrong, you don't want guys taking turns, but there's definitely possessions where it's like, all right, you need to get the basket or recognize the hot hand. Slim returns the favor, 3-ball, and we hang 35 in the first quarter on the Mavericks. Now, Dallas was getting the David Goliath whistle, what I like to call. Look at Farrell just shoving, dislodging, and eventually you got to call that, right? Just because they're the underdogs, severe underdogs, and undersized and underathletic, you can't let them get away with murder, but they kind of were. You're going to see Clay roll off the screen and get the layup, but there weren't too many easy baskets yielded by this Mavericks team. They have definitely taken on the personality of Rick Carlisle. Now, they went to Dirk. I said they featured him, and he had 12 points, but he was allowed to bang and dislodge and really just kind of do what he wanted. I know he's an antique. He's a Hall of Fame antique that's still out there on the court, but I just question, I don't know, man. It's rough. I don't really like seeing this version of Dirk. I'm going to be honest with you. And David West went right back at him. David West felt even more like a young man going against one of the few older players in the league against him. Now, Nick Young showed some pride here, right? He missed badly. Now watch him hustle. And it's funny. It's like, is this what it takes for you to wake up, Nick? He plays so nonchalant and lackadaisical. It's like, oh, you get a little embarrassed, and then it kind of makes you step your game up. I'd like to see more of that out of Nick Young. And with Iguodala out, Nick Young needs to show something now. Dallas did go on a big run with both Steph and KD sitting. Klay was in there, and he's formed a nice chemistry with David West. David West, that's something you only can make that play if you guys have chemistry. You can't just make that play on a whim here. I was impressed with Dwight Powell. Obviously, the career high 21 points, I believe, but I didn't know he could shoot the ball at all. I thought he was just strictly a rim roller. He proved me wrong. And then when you start the season 2-14, some of that's bad luck, and some of that luck's going to balance out. You see the shooters roll extreme. Now, Draymond shot the three very well. Look at him pivot foot and then drag the right foot tap forward, something out of Klay's book, but I've noticed he's finding a rhythm with the shot. Look at KD. He purposely dies on that screen because he knows the rookie's not a shooter, and that's a tough shot when you're not a shooter, a wide open look. Powell, the back tap, and he was killing us on the offensive glass. Now, unfortunately, Jordan Bell's most infamous moment in college was the lack of a box out in the tournament late in a game on the free throw line. So you think that type of microscope would make him more aware of box outs, but that's not the case yet. Now, KD gets greedy here. He wants to catch that in rhythm and pull up. He bobbles the ball, and then watch Jordan Bell. He wants to sell out. He's going to load his feet for the block, takes himself out of position, a soft and one finish for Powell. Now, here we go out in transition, and Jordan Bell, now this is just cake for him, right and wrong. He gets hung on the rim. And so this is when I started to think about his legs and what point in the season we are at, right? We're about the halfway mark. Now, Wes Matthews Jr. is kind of like a Seattle Seahawk. He has the mentality of, I'm going to foul you on every play, and they just can't possibly call it, right? But I want to credit Draymond here because you got to take the good with the bad, and it's not all Draymond's fault, right? He does not get the benefit of the doubt with calls. He was getting absolutely mugged by Wes Matthews on that screen, no call. And then what do you think he's going to do? Time winding down? You think Klay's going to drive around? You know he's going to pull up and spray in your face. Here we go, winding down the half. KD, Steph, high pick and roll. Steph pulls up and hits one in the rookie's face. And this is why they're very excited about this rookie in Dallas, because he has that rise to the occasion factor. Even though he's not a shooter, he doesn't like that. He's got a lot of pride and a lot of heart. He pulls one in Steph's face to end the half, and that's just a mentality that cannot be taught. Here we go, second half. Look at Draymond catching rhythm. He had 3 threes on the night, but would we make those third quarter adjustments? Yeah, for a little bit of time. Watch the early switch here by Steph. That enables them to get back in it. You got to switch early so the guy knows you're doing it and you can communicate. And then they decided to double Dirk, who, like I said, had a decent first half, and then watch the great closeout here by KD. But this intensity on the defensive end was very short-lived. Now, Draymond doesn't get the defense to commit sometimes. You see that? Dirk wasn't committed to him, and then there's the turnover. He's got to jump in the air or at least get the help defender to commit more often. I know this is one of those pick-on Draymond games, but the 6 turnovers really bothered me, and then they are completely asleep. And Klay, he had too many Rocco snacks last night, man, because he was the biggest culprit as far as our rotations on the defensive end in this second half. Now, here's a great example of Dennis Smith's forward momentum, right? And his weight is always kind of leaning forward. That gives him this burst. Now, this is on the rest of the Warriors. Wes Matthews Jr. is a great defender. He shut down DeMar DeRozan last week. And Klay, you know he's not a great ball handler. Come give him help. He turns the ball over, and I just don't like that the rest of the guys didn't recognize that. Why are you asking your weakest ball handler to handle the ball? Steph, pull up, Flowetry. And here's more lack of attention to detail. Where do you think Wes Matthews is going to be, Steph? Look at him go under the screen. Up, it's too late, right? Fight over that every time. Wes Matthews Jr. does not go to the rim. Again, Dallas hit 19 threes, and here's just a ludicrous one from Devin Harris, who hasn't hit one since 2009. Now, I'm just messing with y'all, but when it rains, it pours. Dallas had it flowing. Now, something I've noticed about Bell and his screens, watch the rub screen here. His screens tend to stick, and then he doesn't get called for fouls, which is a very good sign for a young player who usually doesn't get the benefit of the doubt on the screens. And then there's this. So this was just a little bump. I do this every time I play pickup basketball, so I have no problem with this. See that little nudge? You want that level of physicality with your team, and the Warriors understand that. Watch P-Mac dap up Bell after this. He's like, my nigga. Right? So I love that Bell's not backing down. And then here we go, out in transition. Hang number 2. You know they gave him grief about this, and I had brought it up earlier. I think Bell may be hitting a little bit of a rookie wall here with his legs. I know he doesn't play heavy minutes, but the type of athlete he is, he may be a little fatigued. And then this is just a great finish to finish the third quarter. That's not even English. That's Ebonics off the glass for P-Mac to finish the quarter. And David West and Draymond Green, there was no Steph KD lineup here to start the fourth, and this is just a perfectly ran break by these two. David West always in control, as if he has any other choice right at his age. But these two really carried us to start the fourth quarter offensively. Now watch Klay here. He comes down and helps and completely loses his guy. David West is the help. Klay's like, oh, damn, where did he go? That's why Wes Matthews had 7 3-pointers on the night. I said 6. I think it was 7. And then he lets Wes Matthews blow by him. And I think that's just kind of a sneak move. I'm not going to be too hard on him. And then let's freeze it right here. Draymond sees that David West should have hit Klay. Klay's open, but Draymond still wants to make the play. The play is not there any longer, Draymond. The window had closed. The pass was there for David West to make. And that's just one of the 6. And then look at this. He narrowly escapes, and he's like, nah, F it. I'm going to rip another one. And this was it. I'm not gonna lie, I jumped off the couch cursing at him on that one. It was like you got away with it and then you forced it again. Here he is pumping his third. It really made him redial in. But I love this by Kerr. Watch Kerr. He knows Draymond's kind of beating himself up. He doesn't say much to him. He doesn't jump on him. Draymond knows his mistakes. He's just got to fix them. Klay with the space separator. That was a little bit of breathing room. His offense was money, but defensively he was out to lunch. And there's Powell. I didn't know he had that. So I'm not going to blame the rotations. I think you got to yield that. And then this is a crazy finish from DSJ, right? Off 2 feet. You always hear Barnett talk about how it takes much longer to jump off 2 feet. Well, not for this kid. The kid with 2 ACLs showing me something. Again, Klay, the wrong helper, helps and then gets smoked in the corner for 3. And Steph, another tough finish at the rim. And the reason why he always falls like that is because he doesn't want to come down on someone's foot. It's pretty simple. Now watch Draymond here. Watch him get hit over by Powell, right? That upsets him, and he allows it to carry on into the next play. Here's an inbound play from KD. Now watch Draymond throw the elbow to dislodge, and then he gets called for the offensive foul with 2 minutes remaining in the game. He's got to stop carrying his emotions into the next play. Let it go when it happens. Easier said than done, but it's something he can do. He's that smart. He'll be able to do it. KD, a great block, but look at the hustle, and then there he is again. This dude, I would be trying to poach this guy if I was a playoff contending team, see if Mark would come up off Wes Matthews. I know he has a big contract. Then they steal it again, and almost that would have been devastating. But I did not like the offense down the stretch. I mentioned this in the main video. It was very stagnant. It was KD on this elbow here, and he didn't seem to want to go to the basket. He settled for a lot of jumpers. This time he swings it, and Steph, that's a decent look, right? But still, it was just flat-footed, stagnant offense down the stretch, and I think it was Dallas's physicality that forced that to close out. Barnes, you got to give him credit. 2 big shots from HB down the stretch, but would it be enough against the champs? So ball control has been an issue all night. Out of the timeout, what does Steve Kerr draw up? He's like, how about we have our worst ball handler bring the ball down the court against pressure and initiate the offense? I thought this was wild. I brought up the sabotage theory. I think Kerr, low-key, he's like, I want their ear, and it's going to somehow, some way work out. Watch Klay here with a look what I found finish. Nice spin, nice spin. Okay, so 2-point lead, 20 seconds left. Who does Dallas go to? Dirk? Can Dirk still get off his shot? No, they got to go to their $80 million man, Harrison Barnes. And he goes too early. Usually you wait till 7 seconds. That's the magic number. He went at 15, and he leaves 12 seconds on the clock. There are no timeouts. Kerr says, Chef, get in the kitchen and cook these fools. Dirk, no chance, pull up, 3, got it. Warriors with the lead. Now 3 seconds left, no timeouts. Do you foul and give them 2 free throws, basically ensuring the lead? We haven't seen Kerr do this in the past, and he wouldn't do it on this night either. They get it back to the rookie, and he barely gets a look, but Klay, that could have been a foul. I'm not going to lie. Golden State narrowly escapes on the first step of the Texas 2-step. Steph with the dagger.